Okay, so we're not even in the passing grade anymore. It's
Back
not a
to the
D.
warehouse.
I got to go pack some
That's
boxes.
right. That's right.
All right, that's an out and out failure. Speaking of out and out failures, I know that a lot of times you guys will get customers that want to show you the problem with the product because they don't necessarily know how to explain what's gone wrong. So they will send in pictures of a product that hasn't been coded right, and they want to say, what am I doing wrong? What's happening here? So we have one of those examples with us right now, and we're going to share that and put this on the screen for you to see. So I would say if you are a customer and Mike, you get these pictures here.
Right. This is the one I got this call or I got the email. So this was interesting. This actually came through. Miguel got this one, Chris. Somebody somehow he got routed, and he was talking to the person, and he came to me and said, "Hey, somebody said that the Teflon's peeling, and is there anything wrong? And here's the lot number." And I was like, and he said he's going to send pictures, and so he sent the pictures, and so this product is 532G1003, which is it's very similar to like 954-303, but this is the powder form of that. So it's FEP and epoxy in a one coat powder. So it's our only one coat powder product. It's been around for a long time, and so that's what this product is. And so when he said it was peeling, like, and the environment was like, oh, it's just used for mild cleaning fluids are on it. And it's not a very harsh environment at all. So I was a little surprised to hear that they were having these problems. But one of the things that picture right there, Francesca, was the first one that I kind of looked at. And so I got on the phone with the person, with the coder, and just talked through their process. And because if you could zoom in, like on that bare metal. So, like one of the things that we look at in this stuff, and he was just like, hey, it's peeling off. And I was like, well, when I look at this, my initial thought when I zoomed in on it was I saw orange peel everywhere. And that's those pock marks all around. Like, yeah, especially the light makes it very clear that there's orange peel. And this is why we love getting photos or videos, because we can start digging around and looking around and seeing things that other people might not. But so I saw the orange peel, which is usually a sign that the coating's applied too thick, per coat. And then I looked at the metal there, and like that's why I zoomed in a lot on that, and it didn't really look like much of a surface prep. It doesn't look like what I would expected it to look like, more of a roughened surface. And then in some places you can see where the coating has kind of peeled up, and it peeled directly from the surface. It's not like there's no inner coat. So I suspect it was done in one coat, because it wasn't like there was some coating on the metal and some coating peeled off. So it didn't delaminate, inner coat. This is a straight up peel. So I asked some questions. As it turned out, this was in fact like 4 or 5 mils done in one coat, this is meant to go on at like 1 mil per coat.
Yeah, that's beyond.
So this is like way, way, way thick per coat. And he did it electrostatically, which I was shocked that electrostatics did anything. Usually after about 2 mils, the Teflon will insulate itself enough because it's a natural insulator, and the electrostatics don't do anything except add static charge to the surface of the part, which can then cause defects when you cure. So some of the defects are that, I think, but I also think that, and he also said, getting back to the surface prep, they did not grip blast the surface. They just sprayed this over unblasted metal. So, and then lastly, the last part of this was really like their whole thing of like, hey, well, this is peeling. And so I asked him about the cleaning fluids, which were just mild, like normal cleaners. But then he shared the real kicker was that the part's put into an autoclave, which is a steam clean type environment. It's not the temperature that's a problem, because those autoclaves are typically like 250 or so Fahrenheit. But the fact is, it's a steam environment. Steam will permeate the coating. And once that happens, then it starts causing that delamination, which is exactly what we see here in that picture. Because what we're seeing there is I don't see any metal, so it didn't peel off the metal, but it's certainly peeling off it didn't tear through like the other picture, but it's
Yeah.
certainly delaminating and from from the steam. So once I had all the information, then I was like, okay, well, there's really a lot of different things at play. Number one, you have to grit blast. Number two, if you want to get to 5 mils, this coating can go there, but you need to do it in like four
Multiple
bakes,
bits.
probably,
Yeah.
maybe 3 bakes, but probably 4 bakes to really get the coating to look right and perform right. And then also, if you do it in multiple bakes, you have a better chance of surviving an autoclave because the multiple top coats or the multiple coats will fill in the porosity of the initial layer. So,
Mhm.
doing it in one coat, you're going to have pinholes. Doing it in 3 or 4 coats, you're probably going to be able to backfill, so to speak, the pinholes,
Yep.
and it might work. So, there's really a lot of different things at play here for this person. Like I think there might have even been something else, but it was one of those things that when there's that many variables, in some ways we would be like only change one variable at a time. So, which one was really causing, the,
Mm-hmm.
the impact. But in this case, it just needed to be done correctly. The service
Yeah.
prep done correctly, the application process done correctly, and I think the coding itself is probably fine for this application. It just wasn't done right.
Yep.
Great. Wolfie,
But this,
anything to add? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
no, I
Sorry.
was gonna say but just looking at the pictures, I would have never have gotten to that answer. This was a 15-minute, 20-minute phone call probably
Yeah.
of just
Yeah.
talking through the process and listening and the pictures are a huge help. If I didn't have the pictures, I wouldn't have seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wolfie, anything to add?
Yeah, not really. I mean, Mike's super thorough there, and again, to his point, some of the information came from the pictures and some came from conversation. So, if a picture was just uploaded, I mean, yeah, it's maybe worth 1,000 words, but the answer is really 2,000 words. So, you know what I mean. So it's kind of like you're gonna get some of the answer. Maybe I'm dying to see what the answer is.
I don't think it's even going to touch
It
this.
may not. I mean, they have to zero in on the defect and whether, if that what they're looking for. I don't really know. But we all know that, there's only certain areas of the process where things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And how'd you prep the metal? How'd you prep the material? How'd you
Mm-hmm.
spray it? How'd you cure it? I mean, something happens somewhere in there. And this
No, I
guy.
did everything the way the TDS says, Chris.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. And that's
And then they
so
thermocoupled it.
and it's funny and a lot of and listen, I get it. Some guys will do a little bit of work before they come to us and the initial knee-jerk reaction is there's something wrong with the material.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
And maybe the question into ChatGPT is what is wrong with this material, 5321003? It's peeling,
Yeah.
and so they think it's a manufacturer defect, and that's kind of how they come in guns blazing a lot of times. So maybe it's true.
That's a great point, Wolfie, is that it's possible that the questions you're getting on the phone and via email are going to be slightly different than the ones that people will put into ChatGPT. So yeah,
Oh, the question 75-80% of the time, there's something wrong with this batch of material.
yeah,
Mhm.
That's how, because here's what I got.
right.
So
So without assuming that, I did just put the 3 pictures into the into ChatGPT and uploaded them and said, can you tell me what's wrong with this whatever. And he said a whole bunch of stuff, or it said a whole lot of stuff. And I said, please summarize that. And our summary is
Summary
the
is a good move. I've never done the summary.
the coating on these components shows clear signs of application failure, including wrinkling, peeling, and localized delamination, especially near fasteners and frame joints. These defects suggest poor adhesion, likely caused by inadequate surface preparation, such as insufficient cleaning or grit blasting.
God damn.
The presence of
wow.
blistering and torn sections may indicate that the coating was applied too thickly or that flash times between coats were not properly observed, leading to solvent entrapment or air bubbles. Additionally, thermal distortion around the damaged areas points to an improper curing process, either overbaking, underbaking, or uneven heat distribution. Finally, the coating appears to have failed mechanically due to stress concentration at joints, suggesting that the application did not account for hardware movement or expansion during assembly or use. Addressing these issues would require reviewing the surface prep protocols, application thickness, and curing cycle used by the coder. So, Mike, what do you think? What would you, well, actually, Wolfie, let me start with you. What would you give AI's answer? Do you feel like that's pretty sufficient?
Honestly, I'd probably
Of
give it a
course.
B. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
strong. I mean,
Yeah, I
that is
mean,
it's funny. Mike might agree with me. And this is like an experience type of thing. Troubleshooting, at least from what I've seen, and the guys that I've brought up, and then Mike can go back to the guys that he brought up through, Intech and DuPont Chemours. Troubleshooting is like one of the last things I feel like people get. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
where they know the questions to ask. I mean, we still today get emails from individuals that are like, "Look what happened. What do you think?" And it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
I
it's
like
like,
those.
well, no, but I mean, like, it's like, do you have a thought of your own, possibly, as to what you think might have happened, before you just, I brain dump, the little bit of information that you've given me,
15
but.
years of information to have it.
Exactly, exactly. So, but when I look at this and look at that answer, I mean, that's a pretty solid response.
All right.
Like I said, B. It's probably where I would
Good.
be.
Mike,
I'm gonna go B minus. Because at first
you're a hard grader. I love
well, at
it.
first because I had more time to look at the answer. At first I was gonna go like B plus, A minus, because their initial thing is right. The peeling, application, thickness, potential cure issues. Like there's some good stuff, but then it started getting carried away with itself and started talking about thermal distortion. Oh, it's either overbaking, underbaking, or uneven heat. Like, well, which one is it? Like that's not
Yeah.
okay.
That's what
Like it's
jumped out
just
at me too.
yeah, they started,
Yeah.
it's like basically covered all bases.
Yeah, scattershot, just throw them
Yeah.
all out there.
The mechanical failure, I don't think that's it. It didn't, because it's not. It's from autoclave. So in the hardware movement, there is no hardware movement in this one. In
Yeah.
expansion, like it doesn't do that. So that's where like it started getting carried away with itself, and it went from like a pretty solid grade to down to the B minus, which it's not awful, but it did better than I thought it would. I'll be honest. That was when I first read the first couple sentences, I was like, oh shit,
It
that's
did
not a
better than
bad.
I did in algebra every time I took it. So no, that's really interesting because then it did better with the pictures with just a hey, what's wrong with this than it did with these kind of more specific, wordier questions. And in both, like in all ways, you need more information than the initial inquiry, of course. So I
Yeah.
think that's pretty telling on its limitations in terms of AI.
One of the things I've noticed in using it myself, in all three of the answers it gave have the same kind of theme, which is it always gives an answer, and I've never seen it once give an answer and then say, that said, here are two or three other things that I would like to know the answers to
Mhm.
give an even sharper answer or a more refined answer. Like it's almost like here's the answer, and it waits on you to reprompt it to
Mm-hmm.
say, what is there anything else I should be asking, or is there
Right.
other questions I should know? Like if you went through there and did that for those three answers, it might come up and go, yeah, actually, I would like to know, is it ever, this or that? But it never does that. So it leaves the responsibilities on the user to then keep pushing it and pushing it for a better answer. And
Mhm.
and that's work. And now it's like, well, if I knew what to ask, I wouldn't have this problem probably. So
Yes. Yes. It's funny because then AI really fails the most human test, which is saying, I don't know. I need to know more. And
right.
if it can't say that, then I would love to get into a debate about how well it can learn ever, where it's
Mhm.
really training us to get it to do what we want it to do rather than it learning how
So if
to
the answer is
do
not
anything.
right, then as well, you didn't give me the right information or prompt the
Yeah.
right question. So
Right.
you got the answer to what you asked, and it's your question that was the problem.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So it's only as good as the information that's out there that it can find in 10 seconds or 15 seconds. So
Hmm.
we
Where do
probably
you think
shouldn't
it found that? Where do
we
you think
we
it found
shouldn't
the
be
answer
putting
to
out
that?
any new information.
See, I'm telling you, Wolfie is scared to death. He's gonna get replaced.
No written information out
Wolfie's
there.
fine. Bucci should be scared.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
I think it would be really interesting to have ChatGPT watch this episode and then go back and ask it similar questions and see if it picks up any of the
Smarter.
corrections that
Yeah.
it needed to pick up.
It
It'll
learned.
it'll start like citing Chris Lord
Mhm.
on
Yes.
all their answers.
Don't do that.
I mean, all in all, I think let's talk about like the big takeaways from this. That's, three very different examples and three very different grades and outcomes of it. Wolfie, do you see that AI has a place in a coder's business to make their lives better and easier, and not necessarily flawed and more expensive by buying the wrong coatings and doing the wrong things?
Actually, I do, because I've used it myself. And there's ways to get, especially if you're new, and you're stumped, and you know, Mike went through it. I went through it, the whole beginning learning phase of learning, the codings and things like that, and then wanting to make a recommendation and just being like, oh my God, like it could be all of these things, and it is a good resource. It's a computer resource versus, the book I have sitting over there, the Compass Corrosion book, which is, about chemicals and things like that. So yeah, it could get you on your way. I do like the professionalism and the response too, because it does organize things probably better than a lot of us do.
Hmm.
Where I might put something together and then forget, like, oh, I meant to include that, so I'll just make another line. Like, oh, but and by the way, I wanted to remind you of this too. Like, it gives you a nice, concise answer. But I would say at this juncture right now, you really want to read through it, and really kind of pick out some things that either aren't relevant, or there's holes in it. You guys have done more with it than I have, and know to look. Probably have more of a trained eye as to what the responses are and kind of things to pluck out. I just, this is really my first foray where you're throwing answers of questions that I've provided, because these are actual, two of these were actual leads that we got through the Comores website. So we didn't change the wording or anything. That's how it came to us, and we put it in the system. So it's really, really close to what people, the questions that they ask. And it's impressive. I mean, I'm assuming that it is going to get better, but I think it's just another tool that you could use to kind of help, um, put
It's an
good
educational resource for
exactly.
those who don't know or want to check their work or get started with an idea, but it's not necessarily something to be trusted 100% on its accuracy, and because it doesn't have the experience or the ability to
Sure.
do that, right?
Yep. 100%.
And what you said, Francesca, is where I am with it. It's exciting and impressive in some ways, but it scares the hell out of me in others because we take pride in the fact that we're here to help people, zero in on if a Teflon coating can help them, and if so, which one would be the best candidate, for that. The concern is people don't contact us and they just start making decisions on their
Sure.
own based on what ChatGPT says, and now they're really going down the wrong path. So,
Right.
in today's world, in today's, like, I guess, versions of these AI platforms, they just don't have the ability to deductively think through all these different factors. And how can they? They haven't been out and seen these
Sure.
different things or been programmed to see and consider all these different things as it relates to the art and science of coding. So it does pretty good. It's a tool, like Chris said. It's a resource. It can help save you some time. Like if I'm a coder, I'd be using this all day to say how much, what's the surface area of this? Here's a print. Tell me the surface area. So now I don't have to spend a bunch of time calculating it
Sure.
for all these complex geometries and things like that. It can absolutely save time and make it very accurate and precise on certain things like that. Or like I know in marketing, it can come up with some interesting, like, content ideas and hooks or whatever. But it never can replace 100% of knowing who your audience is and what they really need because of human experience.
And I wonder if
Excellent.
those little human experience things ever make it out there. Maybe at some point they do, who knows? But right now,
Then
no.
we're in like the Terminator world, and I don't know if I want to be there. I heard AI described this as, a former English teacher. I loved this definition of AI of its strengths and weaknesses. It If you feed AI the script of The Godfather, it can tell you that Fredo is the asshole, but it can never write The Godfather from scratch. It's just never going to do that.
Mhm.
So it is very much about what you put into it is going to determine what you get out of it. And one concern that I definitely have with AI is if we're always optimizing for the speed at which we get an answer and not necessarily the accuracy with which we get an answer or the thoroughness of an answer. And then we're always going to be missing the complexity and nuance of lived experience. So I think there's definitely a place for AI because obviously we've invented it. We want it there to make things easier. But let's just say across the board between a D, a suspension, and then maybe a B, it doesn't sound like it's going to pass the test for replacing any Teflon coating knowledge.
All right.
Yeah, good.
Congratulations, guys. You're around for another at least 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Start planning now.
That's all I have for you in terms of AI questions, but I did want to wrap it up with something a little bit fun. And I was thinking, AI can do all of these things so fast. It can do it almost instantly. If you could do something instantly, have it be instantaneous almost, what would that one thing be?
I could do something. You mean like acquire a skill or something?
You could like acquire a skill, you're instantly perfect at it, or you could anything.
Wow.
I know a lot of people would want to instantly fall asleep, but I feel like that might be a waste of that power. So, Wolfy, do you got one?
God, fly? I don't know.
So, like teleport.
Yeah, teleport.
I mean, seriously, if you just had to pack and then instantly travel, that's not a bad one.
Oh.
That was the one on my mind too, actually. So I'd cut out all travel.
I
So
was
we could
thinking more just
instantly go
flying like a
places.
bird, but yeah, I'll teleport too. Sure.
Mike, what about you?
So I would want to be able to have the ability to not if I wanted to look at a sports matchup and know the outcome of that matchup before it takes place.
Oh, well,
So
that's just like
only
Gray's
if I
Sports
wanted to.
Almanac from Back to the
Or
Future.
the most accurate
or
sports bettor of all time.
For betting reasons. Exactly.
Because now I don't need to work. I just
Well, exactly. Like I'll still watch the game because I want to see how it gets there, but like I just want to
That's
know.
what I mean. Or if I wanted to, if it's a game that I don't, it's my team, and then I'm like, I don't want to know the outcome. I want to watch this one play itself out. But these other 3 games, I need dinner money and beer money. So,
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's so funny.
That's
All
interesting.
right. I like it. 2 very different answers, but instant gratification all around. And that's always a good time. But I wanted to say thank you both to Mike and to Wolfy. And I guess we should be saying thanks to AI too, although I hear it's wasting a lot of water to say please and thank you to AI. I don't know. I want the robots on my side, so I'm going to mind my P's and Q's. But thank you all for listening, for tuning in, and for always supporting us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share all these videos and this knowledge because we just want to build a better world with better coatings, and we want to do that to deliver more. We will be coming back to you next time from Delaware. Bye-bye now.
see ya.
See y'all.